Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the head of state presides over the 20th session of the Council of Ministers. For the international scene, suspect charged and remanded in custody in Turkey, Paris. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, took place this Tuesday, December 27, 2022. The 20 sessions of the Council of Ministers, the following texts were examined and approved. The Presidency of the Republic, the first issue draft law on the adoption of the financial account of the National Agency for Persons with Disability for the year 2019, 2020 and 2021. The 2019 and 2020 and 2021 financial account of the National Agency for Persons with Disability are set at 133 millions duty franc and 183 millions franc and 288 millions respectively between 2019 and 2021. The INPH's income has increased by 116%. Likewise, expenses have increased by 105%. The state subsidies also experienced a strong growth between 2019 and 2021. During the fiscal years 2019 and 2020 and 2021, the National Agency for Persons with Disability undertook many works, including the National Survey on the Prevalence of Disability, which allowed to determine the prevalence rate of disability at 8.5% of the population. In addition to this work, the agency has also implemented a biometric registrations activity for people with disability in Djibouti City and in the regions. These actions have made it possible to strengthen the rights of people with special needs and to promote their participation with a view to their effective integration into the society. The second issue, draft orders approving the provisional budget of the National Agency for Persons with Disability for the year 2023. The 2023 provisional budget of the NPH is presented in balance in incomes and expenses at 497 million Djibouti franc. The operating budget increased by 55% over the 2022 budget. This increase is due to the recruitment of 10 social workers to strengthen human resources both in Djibouti City and in the interior regions. In 2023, NPH will continue to implement the actions plan of the National Strategy for Disability and finalize the project to digitize the files of people with disabilities. The investment budget of 268 million is intended in particular for the acquisitions of equipment for people with disability, the realizations of several studies on the factors leading to disability, the realizations of diagnosis on the accessibility of the infrastructure welcoming the public, the rehabilitations of the premises of the regional branches and the extensions of the premises of the Bulao site, as well as the acquisitions of furniture and computer equipment. The third question is draft orders approving the 2023 provisional budget of the Djibouti Office for the Development of Geothermal Energy, ODEG. The provisional budget 2023 of ODEG is presented in balance in income and expenses to 592 million Djibouti franc in 2023. The office intends to continue and accelerate all preparatory activities for the executions of the drilling programs Galale, Koma, and Halle. The numbers of staffs has increased from 12 in 2014 to 154 people in 2022. Two major explorations projects are underway within ODEG, namely the Galale Koma sites, Fades Kuwait Fund and Djibouti, the Halle Garabais Jika Djibouti. Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment, the fourth issue, draft laws approving the financial account of the Djibouti Roads Agency for the year 2019, 2020, and 2021. the financial account of the Djibouti Road Agency for the year 2019. And 2020 and 2021 are stopped in incomes at 1,687 million and in expenses at 1,760 million. In 2020, incomes was at 1,971 million. Expenses were in 2,017 million in 2021. Incomes was 1,424 million, and expenses are 2,089 millions between 2019 and 2021. The agency's expenses increased from 1.7 billion to 208 billion in 2022. ADR has implemented an annual maintenance and rehabilitation program for the city. The agency has carried out works on corridors, road, and studies development of the road network, issue 5 draft orders approving and making enforceable the 2023 provisional budget of the Djibouti Road Agency. The 2023 provisional budget of the ADR is presented in balance in incomes and expenditure at 2.8 billion. The projected revenue includes 400 million in income from a contract with DPCR for road corridor rehabilitation work. In 2023, the roads agency, with a staff of 414, will carry out the project's renovation and modernization work on national roads, reconstructions of 60 kilometers of the National Road 1, rehabilitations of the Unity Road, widening the reinforcement of the Loada roads, including studies and rehabilitations of urban roads, constructions of the Palm Grove Bridge, and urban road work in new housing estates. In 2023, the National Roads Agency will invest 537 million in the acquisitions of materials production plant, graves, asphalt, and curbstones, and the acquisitions of a truck and machinery. This draft budget will enable the agency to improve the conditions of the country's road infrastructure. The Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity, the 6 issue draft laws approving the financial account for the year 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 of the Djibouti Social Development Agency. The 2018 and 2019 and 2020 and 2021 financial account of the ADDS are closed in 2018 with an income of 446 million and expenses at 360 million in 2019 with an income of 342 million in 2020 with an income of 387 million, and in 2021 with an income of 498 million. ADDS mission is to contribute to the eradication of poverty among vulnerable groups and to reduce disparity between regions. During 2021, the agency carried out various projects, mainly driven by the funded regional project and other projects on social protection. The project to support women's and youth entrepreneurship and the PDYI2, these programs funded by AFD and covering the Liable and Mustikar neighborhoods of Balbala. Ministry of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights. The question 7, draft decree establishing the missions, composition, organizations, and functioning of the national body for vigilance in the fight against trafficking in persons and related practices, taken in applications of the provisions of Article 39 of the Law 133 EN 167L of March 24, 2016. The present draft decree stands to fix the missions, compositions, and organizations and functioning of the National Vigilance Body in the fight against trafficking in persons and similar practices. The mission of this body placed under placed under the authorities of the Minister of Justice is to present and combat trafficking in person, to protect the fundamental rights of victims of trafficking, to designate a comprehensive framework for the prevention, protection, and assistance to victims and witnesses to investigate, prosecute, and punish trafficking in persons in all its forms with a view to imposing effective and appropriate penalties and to contribute to the fight against trafficking in persons at the national and international levels, whether or not it is linked to organized crime, and to promote regional and international cooperation in this fight. This national vigilance body is composed of representatives of different public institutions. It will be represented in 5 regions by cells to fight against human trafficking and related practices. The latter will have to ensure the applications and follow-up at the regional level of an action plan against trafficking in person. The 8th question is draft decree approving and making enforceable the provisional budget of the National School of Judicial Studies for the year 2023. The provisional budget of the National School of Judicial Studies for the year 2023 is presented in balance in revenue and expenditure at 116 million Djibouti francs. The school's own incomes consists of trainings, registration fees estimated at 12.5 million in 2023. In addition to the existing training courses, has scheduled 8 new training courses for French and Arabic speaking first-time court officers, lawyers, notaries, and bailiffs from the prison staff. The establishment intends to make investments that relate to the acquisitions of software, the equipment of the multimedia room, and the purchase of furniture and teaching material. The Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of industry. The 9th issue draft decree amending Decree 2016-95 PRMFE establishing the Djibouti Partial Credit Guarantee Fund. The purpose of the draft decree is to amend certain provisions of Decree number 2016-95 PR, in particular the status of the Partial Credit Guarantee Fund, which is a national mechanism to facilitate the granting of financing to the small and medium enterprises on industry through risk sharing with credit institutions, microfinance institutions, and other financial institutions. It will now provide a partial guarantee for mortgage loans to facilitate access to affordable housing for low and irregular income households. These changes relate mainly to the name of the fund, which will now be called to Djibouti Guarantee Fund, the strengthening of its powers, in particular the establishment of a technical committee and 2 management committee within the board of directors, and changes to its compositions and missions. This draft decree aims to strengthen access to affordable housing, particularly for the most vulnerable families. The 10th question is draft decree approving and making enforceable the provisional budget for the year 2023 of the Djibouti Economic Development Fund. The 2023 estimated budget of the FDED is presented in receipt and product at 387 million Djibouti francs, with a net result of 28 million. The 2023 operating budget shows a slight increase compared to the 2022 budget due to the estimated repayment of the Saudi funds debts deferred because of COVID-19. The projected incomes consists mainly of interests on arrears and litigations costs charged to customers, 57% of incomes, which will fall from 426.8 million in 2022. 387 million in 2023. The declines in revenue is due to the decrease in the institution's activities and the absence of new lines of credit since 2016. The investment budget is intended for the acquisitions of transport equipment for the collection services and mail distributions. the acquisitions of the new integrated accounting software and renewal of the computer equipment. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, the 11th question, draft orders approving the 2023 provisional budget of the Military Retirement Fund. The draft 2023 budget of the Military Retirement Fund is presented in balance with the revenue and expenditure of 2.7 billion Djibouti franc. Technical expenses are up 9.5% compared to 2022 due to the new retirees and old age disability pensions. This draft budget provides for a capital expenditure for the constructions of new premises and the acquisitions of transport equipment. The Minister of the Budget, the 12th issue draft orders on the allocations of a plot and of land located in Nagad. The draft orders concern the allocations for the benefit of the Ministry of Muslim Affairs of a lot of land located in Nagad with an area of 12,000 square meters. These parcels of land is intended for the establishment of a mosque named Al-Haddi and its parking. Minister of Agriculture, Water, Fishery and Livestock and Fishery Resources, the 13 issue draft orders adopting the 2023 provisional budget of the National Food Analysis Laboratory. The 2023 budget estimated for LANA is presented in balance with the income and expense of 387 million Djibouti francs. This 2023 budget is 16% lower than the 2022 budget. The projected income consists mainly of fees from food safety inspections, which amount to 364.6 million. The investment budget, which is 33% lower than in 2022. Is intended to cover expenses relating to the extensions and constructions of the new laboratory site, studies for the extensions of the laboratory, fitting out and installations, acquisition of the laboratory equipment and furniture, acquisitions of transport equipment, and acquisitions of the computer equipment. The laboratory performs services with the hotels, restaurant, water productions, and distribution companies and foreign bases. Ministry of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, the 14th issue draft order adopting the provisional budget 2023 of the Post Office of Djibouti. The provisional budget of the 2023 of the Post Office of Djibouti is presented in balance in income and expenditure to 657 million in 2023. The Djibouti Post Office will undergo a technological and institutional transformation with the introductions of digital services. This will involve the creation of a digital postal bank designated to improve financial inclusion to unbanked populations, the finalization of the project of the Citizens House, allowing the population far from the administrative centers to access administrative documents through the postal networks. In 2023, the Post Office plans to implement the DigiPost project through the provisions of certified electronic mail. Finally, the institution plans to carry out an investment programs relating to the acquisitions of software and computer equipment of the transport equipment, constructions and development of the agency. The State Secretary of State in charge of investment and private sectors development, the 14th issue. The 15th issue draft decree approving and making enforceable the 2023 budget estimated of the National Agency for Investment Promotion (ANP). The 2023 budget estimated for ANP is presented in balance with the income of an expense of 197 million. Incomes from the provisions of services is estimated at 129 million, an increase of 25%. 7% compared to the 2022 forecast. This income is made up of income from approvals, new services, offering business plans, development, legal support for promoters, and publications of advertisements in ANP magazines. The agency is planning for an investment for the purchase of rolling stock. The Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, the 16th questions draft decree on appointment are appointed Mr. Iltire Ibrahim Farah, Senior Technical Advisor to the Minister of Defense in charges of relations with Parliament, Mr. Nuruddin Ahmed Almi, Director of the General Treasury of the Ministry of Budget, Mr. Muhammad Ahmed Yusuf, Director of Budget Executions of the Ministry of Budget, Mr. Eid Ahmed Ibrahim, Executive Secretary in charges of the State Portfolio, Ms. Medina Udum Ali, Accounting Officers at the Djibouti Multi-Sectoral Regularizations Authorities. Concerning the communication at the end of the session, the Minister of Health made a communication to the Council of Ministers on the situations regarding influenza, dengue fever, influenza syndrome, and human brucellosis. He informed the Council of the increase of malaria cases in Djibouti City and in the regions according to the statistics from January 1st to December 17. 2022. It also highlights the increase in cases of influenza syndrome in the last 2 weeks, an increase of 47% according to the World Health Organization. This seasonal flu is an acute viral infection caused by an influenza virus. It specifies an increase of cases in all regions since December 2022. It also states that the number of cases of influenza-like illness in 2022 is higher than in the last 2 years. As for the human brucellosis situations, there is a peak in the months of November 2021 and 2022. Thus, the number of cases increased from 439 cases in 2021 to 704 cases in 2022. He recalled that the appearance of a new variant around the world disrupted the international dynamics of the pandemic and causes uncertainty in many countries. These situations have led the Ministry of Health to initiate actions in the file and vector control campaign. These operations have been reinforced to community mobilization actions involved with neighborhoods association and distributions of the impregnated mosquito nets. It is planned to strengthen the management capacity in order to be able to respond to the evolutions of the health situation. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, spokesperson for the government, gave a mission report on the participation of the delegations led by His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, in the first China-Arab countries summit held in Riyadh on the December 9, 2022. On the sidelines of this summit, the President of the Republic had bilateral exchange with the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, and the Saudi Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman. He also made a missions report on the participation of the President of the Republic on the second Africa-US summit held from 13 to 15 September 2022 in Washington. On the sidelines of this summit, the President of the Republic participated in the AGUA Business Forum and had a meeting with the American Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. The Minister of Energy in charges of Natural Resources reported on his working visit to Jeddah from 14 to 15 December 2022. The Minister of Labor in charges of Formalization and Social Protection reported on his participation in the 10th Summit of Head of State and Government of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, which was held from December 6 to 9 in Lusaka. The Minister of City, Urbanism and Housing reported on her participation in the 7th Arab Habitat Conference and the 39th sessions of the Council of Ministers of Arab Countries for Housing held from 18 to 20 December 2022 in Cairo. She also reported on the signing of the financing agreement between the Djibouti government and the Islamic Bank of Djibouti for the Jagabuldok neighborhoods restructuring project of the Zero Slums program. which was held on December 2022 in Riyadh. The minister delegate in charge of digital economy and innovation reported on her working visit to Marseille from December 12 to 14, 2022. The American Congresswoman from Minnesota, Ms. Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, visited Djibouti. Senator Ilhan Omar was welcomed in the late afternoon at Djibouti Airport by a strong delegation, Djiboutian parliamentarian and also officials of the UNFD. Senator Ilhan Omar was welcomed first by the parliamentarian Safiya Ilmi, surrounded by parliamentarian Nim'a Bulhan and Muhammad Hamid, as well as the president of the authorities of Port and Free Zone, Abu Bakr Omar Hadi. The senator is in Djibouti for a short visit, a few days. Tomorrow she will go to the headquarters of the UNFD to meet with the senior officials. After the warm welcome, Senator Ilhan Omar had a meeting in the Lounge of Honor with the parliamentarian Safiya Almi, surrounded by the Djiboutian parliamentarian, and the discussions were about the relations between the Republic of Djibouti and U.S. of America. Democratic Party members Representative Ilhan Omar represent Minnesota's 5th congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives, which includes Minneapolis and the surrounding suburb of an experienced Twin City policy analyst, organizers, and speakers and advocate. Representative Omar was sworn in January 2019, making her the first African refugee to become members of Congress, the first women of color to represent Minnesota, and one of the first two Muslim American women elected to Congress. The operating hunting for wrecked vehicles in the capital continues, especially in the commune of Bulaus. The day 4 of an operation that will run until January 7, and this as part of the program Djibouti Zero Waste. The mayor's office continues its operation to clear the public spaces and of abandoned vehicles. This operation is of removal of abandoned vehicles on the public highway, which continues in permanent ways in recent days, aims to make the capital cleaner. The phenomenon of the open-air garage that continues to grow affect him, the cleanliness of the city. So the mayor of the city, Said Daoud, and his teams and his partners crisscross the town of Bulaus. He went early this morning in the town of Bulaus to the garage installed anarchically. All the wrecks of abandoned cars have been cleared. This narrow the public roads and also disturb the traffic. And the waste has one of and only destination is the garbage ring. For her part, the deputy mayor of Djibouti, Fatouma Mohamed Kamil, said that this operation is of removal of abandoned vehicles on the public highway, which continues in permanent ways in recent days, aims to make the capital cleaner. Similar operations this time in the commune of Balbala, where the teams of the town hall continues the operation of collecting the wrecks of vehicles at the same time, and still as part of the project Djibouti Zero Waste City. The president of the municipality of Balbala, Mohamed Hassan, has launched the large-scale cleaning operations in the city Hamdani. Prior to this work, the commune had mobilized the civil society and active associations and the neighborhood councils. This type of activity will continue so that the commune is clean and beautiful. Finally, the president of the commune of Balbala congratulated and thanked all the women who participate in the success of these great days of citizen action. For his part, the president of the commune of Balbala said that this operation is of the removal of abandoned vehicle on the public highway, which continues in permanent ways in recent days, aims to make the capital cleaner. As part of the continuous training during the December break, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, through the training centers for the teacher of basic education, Omar Gel Ahmed, started this Sunday, December 25. 2022 series of continuous training. The objective of these trainings is to improve teaching and learning, but also classrooms practices of teacher by providing them with all the educational resources and the new repository of skills for school principals and educational advisors. The Director General of the Center, Ms. Aisha Farah Al-Dire, and her collaborators have supervised the smooth running of these training activities that will take place until Thursday, December 29, 2022. It should be noted that these training activities involve hundreds of teachers from all levels of education of preschool, middle school, and technical general high schools. Also, during this week, training are organized for other MENFOP staffs, namely pedagogical supervisor, headmasters, and school life staffs in the framework of their professional development. As part of his official visit to Japan from December 17 to 2022, Colonel Waas Omar Bogore, commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard, had the opportunity to have high-level meetings with officials of the Japan International Cooperation Agency and the Japan Coast Guard. The meeting with the representatives of JICA focused on the finalizations of the ongoing project of acquisitions of two 35 meters patrol boat for the benefit of the Djiboutian Coast Guard and on the various cooperation projects between the two institutions. The second meeting took place at the headquarters of the Japan Coast Guard, where Colonel Waas Omar Bogore had the opportunity to meet Admiral Shishi Shuki, commander of the Japan Coast Guard. The fruitful and constructive discussions between the two parties focused on the maritime security of the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean, as well as on the ways and means to strengthen the cooperation and collaboration links between the two institutions, especially in the field of training. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and Japan Coast Guard are among the historical partners of the Djibouti Coast Guard and have played an important role in the development of the operational capabilities of the Djibouti Coast Guard. As part of the commemorations of the National Day of Qatar, the NGO Qatar Charity, in collaboration with the Embassy of Qatar in Djibouti, organized last night at the People's Palace a ceremony dedicated to the celebrations of patriotic event, where present the Ambassador of Qatar in Djibouti, Dr. Rashid bin Shafi'i Al-Mari, the Director of Qatar Charity, Jada Azadin, and the Director of the UN Zakat officials of the Ministry of Social Affairs, Solidarity and Parents, Children's patriotic songs and dances of the two countries, in this case Qatar and Djibouti, were on the menu of the evening. Qatar Charity, through the care of orphans, aims to form a generation balanced physically and psychologically. It also seeks to provide a quality service to its sponsor and meet the various needs by designing programs and activities that take into account all the requirements and concerns orphans. In her speech, the Director of Qatar Charity, Ms. Ghada Azzeddin, to first of all express her sincere thanks and gratitude for accepting the invitations to participate in these celebrations of the patriotic event dedicated to the country. That Qatar, she emphasized that celebrating the National Day of the State of Qatar with the sponsored persons is a form of thanks and gratitude to the philanthropists who sponsor and care for her after the loss of their dearest parents and some fathers of mothers. Within the framework of the component 2 of the project to strengthen reading in basic education, the UNFD, in collaboration with the Regional Council of Dakhil, organized a ceremony to launch activity chaired by the President of the Regional Council, Mahad Hussein Ahmed, and the Coordinator of the National Literacy Programs of the UNFD, Abdullahi Omar Ibrahim. The ceremony was attended by the Prefect of the region, Mr. Adan Musadrar, and representative of the FHI 360, and regional inspectors. The ceremony was organized by UNFD to present the project and its ambitions to the local authorities, the rigorous inspector, and the rigorous school heads. The arrivals of the project was strongly welcomed by the local authorities, representative of the parents and association, school principals. For his part, Mr. Abdullahi Umar recalled that the two components of this project aim to improve the performance of students in reading in basic education from first to fifth grade in the country through the involvement of a community organizations such as parents associations and school management committee. For the international scene, the Kurd killed in Paris, the suspect indicted and placed in custody, the 69-year-old man suspected of killing three Kurds and wounding three others on Friday in Paris, and who admitted to a pathological hatred of foreigners, was indicted on Mondays and imprisoned, a judicial source said. The suspect, a retired train driver of French nationality, was charged by an investigating judge with the murders and attempted murders on the grounds of race, ethnicity, nationalism, or religions, as well as for the unauthorized acquisitions and possessions of weapons. The sources said he was then placed in the custody by a judge of freedoms and detentions in accordance with the request of the prosecutors, according to the judicial sources. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.